now, whether he's in the Uper, in his part of the world, or whether he's down in the multiple properties in Northern California, Monte Sereno. I don't know where he is, but I know he's not in the NFL Network studios in Culver City, California. He's a friend of the show. He's the great Steve Mariucci. Steve, how are you, buddy?
Hi, Tony. I am in Monte Sereno, which is Northern California. Yeah, our studios have been closed now. We had, as you know, we had to do the draft remotely, and man, I thought that went unbelievably. So many eyeballs watching the draft, 55 million when you add them all up with the NFL Network. Of course, ESPN did it because their studio was open, and then digital platforms. It was crazy. But I haven't been to the UP since February when I went back to the ski jumping tournaments and the sled dog races up in Marquette.
That's great Uper knowledge. We're talking about Upers. You know, we're talking about the Pure Michigan campaign.
Both of them did it.
So, you know who the voices were in that, Steve?
Pure Michigan?
Yeah. Well, Jeff Daniels is doing it.
Yep.
Is he a Uper guy?
Yeah, he's a Michigan guy.
No, he's a Michigan guy. He's not a Uper guy, but he married a Uper.
That's a good job out of him.
And
then, of course,
if you marry a Uper or you spend one bad winter in the UP, then you're considered a Uper.
Exactly right. And then, of course, your buddy, another Uper, who we got to know, the Michigan State head basketball coach, is another Uper great. Are you the two most famous Upers?
No, we're on the post office wall. Oh, there's a lot of Upers. We have a lot of people that we admire. That's for darn sure.
Well, you probably couldn't go back to Michigan because everything's closed. Although if you were there now, you can buy plants and seeds now because the governor's starting to ease back some of the restrictions. See?
Yeah, I know. I just talked to my brother who lives in downstate Michigan, and he lives on a lake, and he hasn't even been able to go on his boat by himself on the lake in the middle of nowhere. But they're starting to ease up a little bit, I guess, huh?
Now, obviously out there in California, everybody's under quarantine, but they're in Northern California, and the biggest thing is no bocce this year, right? Has that been canceled?
Don't say no bocce yet. That's fake news. Now, we haven't canceled it yet. It's postponed. There's a big difference.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Steve. Usually it's early June, and we're waiting for your response, your RSVP, to see if you're going to come and do it again. But we have postponed it a long time ago. We postponed it, and we thought, later on in the summer or the fall. Typically, we don't have it in the fall because I'm busy, but we could do it on a Tuesday or something. So it hasn't been canceled yet. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Man, it's been 22 years in a row.
Unbelievable.
John Madden and I have had it with Tom Albanese, and gosh, we've raised over $8 million, and so many needy charities that we want to keep playing and keep raising money, right?
Absolutely, and I want to hoist that trophy once again, because that's one of the highlights of my career, Steve.
No, the highlight of your career was not the trophy. It was doing the play-by-play with John Madden when you know nothing about bocce ball.
What are you talking about?
You were doing play-by-play over there. Remember that?
Yeah,
it
was on KNBR. Mm-hmm. It was one of the early ones, and we were down in Los Gatos at that Campo de Bocce in Los Gatos, and those are the best bocce facilities I've seen in this country, man. It'd be hard-pressed to find great because they're like entertainment areas. People go out, they have wine, they have food. It's incredible stuff. And so that was one time I'm down there with John Madden and Steve, and Madden starts doing play-by-play on KNBR of the bocce, and I was doing the color, which was a complete – was I doing the play-by-play and John doing the color? I'm trying to remember that now.
Yeah, I think you were doing the play-by-play because John's a color guy, right?
Exactly.
You'll just start, boom, he hit the ball, boom, he hit that one, and then you guys were too loud because you got to be a little bit like golf where you got to keep it down a little bit, right? You can't go crazy over there on the side when I'm trying to concentrate.
How many people can say that, Harry? How many, Tom Brookshire,
right?
Pat Summerall. How many people can,
has Jim Nance ever done that?
Jim Nance, I don't believe, has ever done play-by-play in color with John Madden.
We're going to have Joe Buck on.
He does everything else but bocce. He does everything golf. He does the Masters. He does basketball. He does football. He doesn't do bocce.
It's an outrage. Steve Mariucci. Now the draft you mentioned was I saw your setup there. We had Colleen Wolfe on, who's another great friend, and she's terrific on the NFL Network. We love all the folks there.
From the city of brotherly love. Yep.
Everybody, if you either have to be from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan or from Philadelphia, I believe anymore, to be anybody.
So here's the deal. So I have a camera in my home here. I've had it here for I don't know 8 years or so, but it's an upgrade. But so when you see like Kurt Warner do his show from his camera at home, he's got like a Walter Payton Man of the Year trophy behind him, and he's got like a Super Bowl thing behind him, and all these awards, MVP, his bust from the Hall of Fame. He's got all this stuff right behind him. And Michael Irvin's got like he's got like regular sized Super Bowl trophies behind him. So I don't have that. So you know what I have? I have and I change my background every show. So I've got my last show. In fact, I've got 3 bocce ball trophies up right now, and I had like my punt passing kick from 1967, third place punt passing kick, and I change my stuff behind me every time. Now Andy Reid
probably has that in his host. He has to have his pass punt and kick competition trophy in his office too, doesn't he?
I hope he has that picture because that thing will live forever. That picture when he looked like he was 35 years old standing next to those kids, and he was probably bigger than he is now. In fact, we're going to interview Andy Reid, I guess, tomorrow. We have the schedule release show coming out. You know that?
Yeah.
Schedule release from National Football is coming out tomorrow.
I'm ready, and even the preseason, they're going to put the schedule out for preseason, and then obviously they'll change accordingly. Do you think we're going to see preseason football, Steve?
Well, I hope so. As much as I just kind of shake my head on the preseason, length of the preseason, we're going to put out a schedule that's exactly the same as it's been, okay? Mm-hmm. And with our fingers crossed, with our hopes that we can stay on schedule some way, somehow. Obviously, if we have to make adjustments to do that. But, just like the draft, the NFL didn't want to postpone the draft because it was harder on some teams to prepare than others, and some teams brought players in and some players couldn't. But the league said, hey, we want to stay on schedule if at all possible. And it went off very well, and everybody knows now where they're playing. They're already coaching them up virtually. And so, we're going to put out a schedule that is our intention and our hope that it will be normal. Now, obviously, if it has to be adjusted because of what we know at the time, then we'll do that. But it'll be interesting because NASCAR is going to start cranking it up this month with no people, in the stands, but it'll be televised. And, of course, television is going to be huge because everybody's sitting at home watching television.
Hey, Steve, which way do you go on this one? If you can get the sport back, the NFL, in the fall, but you can't have fans in the stands. Are you okay with that, or would you say, hey, I'd rather they wait until we can figure out a safe way to put people in the building?
I'd like to try it without people in the stands, to play and to have a full schedule. And I think, let me make up my mind as I watch these other sports proceed and see how this looks and how this feels, and if the players are. I don't think we can wait till we can go boom from nothing to a full house. That might be a while.
Right, right.
Who knows? So I think just like opening up businesses and opening up restaurants and certain stores, essential businesses, maybe it's a gradual thing with the arenas too. Maybe it's a quarter or half capacity before we get full houses. I think that might be the reality. Who knows? But right now we plan the real deal, and if we have to adjust, then we adjust.
Talking with Steve Mariucci, NFL Network, and of course doing a great job with the bocce and all the other good charity stuff that he does. So is it going to be in Livermore or down in Los Gatos when the bocce tournament cranks up again this year?
We might bring it back to Los Gatos because it depends. If we downsize it, Tony, because we've been selling now there's 48 teams, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a packed house, and the fire marshal gets mad at us because it's too crowded. So, it's like, all right, okay, make it smaller. Make it smaller, and if we do it smaller, we'll go to Los Gatos because it's closer not far out there, right? So we haven't decided that yet. We'll see how many teams there would be if we choose to do it, and then we'll keep a very safe environment. Can you imagine, we might be playing bocce ball with the masks on us and all that stuff with Purell. You have little Vino on the end of the courts and Purell at the same time.
Absolutely, man, and there's nothing better than – and the Livermore, I mean, they're both amazing facilities, but the Livermore with all the vineyards in the background and pretty much John Madden owns that entire area, doesn't he? Pleasanton, Livermore, and vicinity.
Hey, Steve, maybe we can work on it ahead of time and have Loudmouth, that was providing all the great pants for some of the teams, have matching masks.
Loudmouth masks? Are you kidding me? That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Well, you remember when remember one of our teams wore all Loudmouth stuff one year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was on a team. I still say I saved. I'm a hoarder. I save everything, right? I have my first communion money. And so, I save everything. And so I have those pants. They don't fit anymore, but I have them.
Hey, if there's no regular sports, the ESPN might need programming and just put this on ESPN2 or something.
I'm ready to go back out there because I'm the only. How many people can say they have experience doing play-by-play of bocce and worked alongside John Madden on their resume? Not many people. Not many.
So we'll let you know if we're going to have it, okay?
I'm waiting for the invitation because I'll jump on a plane. I'll jump on a plane and come out there, Steve.
Will you? Okay. Yeah, planes are flying. You got to wear a mask. You got to stay apart and all that. But it's slowly coming back. It
is coming back. I'm feeling good. It's interesting because we talk about this every day. One day I feel really good about stuff, and then the next day I hear all this other stuff, and it's like, maybe not. Everybody wants to be positive. Nobody wants to be dangerous and reckless. But we just want to see. We want to know.
We need stuff to look forward to.
We need to be hopeful, right?
Absolutely. My daughter lives in San Francisco, and so my wife and I went up to visit her just to say hello. We're only less than an hour apart, but we went. We didn't have a restaurant to go to, so we took a picnic, right? So we went over to some park, and people. It was a beautiful day, and people were riding bikes and walking and jogging and picnic, whatever. Most people had masks on. Everybody was staying apart from each other. It was very impressive. And as you know, San Francisco and most places in California have really done a good job of stopping the spread of this, or at least slowing it down. And it was very evident that people were very conscious of staying away from each other and not touching each other or coughing on it. It was impressive. And so if we just can get outside and keep that in mind and just be mindful of, hey, be safe, be smart. I think we can get back sooner than later.
Now, one of our Twitter followers said, please ask Steve about how he got freaky with Jalen Hurts on his whiteboard.
Oh, did you watch it?
I missed that. I didn't see that scene, but I obviously a lot of other people did, Steve. I didn't see that particular one.
So, man, there was hundreds of thousands of views on the darn thing, and we had when we go to the combine, I usually grab 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are going to be drafted high, and I put them on the whiteboard, and that's kind of what they air. 4 minutes, mostly the whiteboard. I'll draw a play, and then I'll go back and sit down, and I'll talk about different things like whatever, get the mind off the play, and then all of a sudden go draw my play, and I want to see what they recall and how they can regurgitate it back to me, and he did. Jalen Hurts did a great job, and he was funny. And he was engaging. He was really good, and I think a lot of people were impressed. I certainly was by the first time I met the kid. And he's driven, he's smart, he's witty, he's a good teammate. We know that. And so Philly's, that people go, hey, why we got a young quarterback already? Well, you know what? I think this guy will be great to have on that team. They drafted a receiver, Jalen Reagor, first. And he's going to play a lot. But then Doug Peterson, Doug Peterson was a backup quarterback for me when I was coaching Favre at the Packers. And he's a smart guy. We all know he's a good coach. And he's the mad scientist now. He's going to have some things up his sleeve for Jalen Hurts. And that's nothing against Carson Wentz. Carson's a heck of a good player, and he's a friend of mine. And so I root for him. But to have them both on the same team and maybe on the field at the same time, look out.
Hey, Steve, a lot of big offseason moves even before the draft. Tom Brady to Tampa, DeAndre Hopkins traded to Arizona, Phillip Rivers ends up in Indianapolis with the Colts. What was the biggest one to you that really said, hey, that move can result in a deep playoff run?
This one's easy. How about Gronk and Brady over there in Tampa? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's like all of a sudden they're the favorites. And they were the team that led the league in passing yards last year with Jameis Winston, who does a lot of good things. He turned the ball over just a little bit. You know, had they not been able to sign Tom Brady, Jameis Winston would still be the starter in Tampa. And so now all of a sudden they've got the suites are sold out, the tickets are sold out, everybody's excited. Hey, it's another Super Bowl run right now. Here we go. There's a lot of excitement in Tampa. And what a division that is over there.
Yeah. With
Drew Brees coming to town, they played twice, and then Matthew Ryan, the Mattrel, as Rich calls him. I mean, these are guys that have thrown for a bazillion yards. Drew Brees and Tom are first and second, right? And then you're talking about Matt Ryan, who hits 50,000, the fastest of anybody. I mean, this is a heck of a division now. Whew.
The great Steve Mariucci, always upbeat, always ready for action. Even down there, whether he has to make a decision. Does he stay in the Bay Area? Does he go back to Michigan? It's tough. It's tough, Steve.
I'm not going to Michigan anytime soon. I'm going to wait. I hope to get there in the summer. Come on, open it up. Let's go. I'm coming.
No, I'll meet you in front of the RoboCop statue in downtown Detroit. How's that?
I don't go to Detroit, okay? I go up. I go to the UP. I'm a UP.
No, people are listening all over. We got a lot of people listening. I don't want people to think that you're turning your back on your native state, pure Michigan bred.
The next time I go back for supposedly a wedding, and that's supposed to happen in July. I hope it happens. I hope they don't postpone it. They're considering it. And then I'm going to make the tour. I'm going to get everybody I know in the downstate, down in the Mitt, and then I'll probably go up north and get my pasties fixed and everything that I need for the summer. And then that'll be my summer vacation. It'll be like Chevy Chase's vacation.
Well, Steve, it's always great to talk to you, man. No, people are saying you hate Detroit. That's not. How can a guy from Michigan hate Detroit? There are people on the Twitch stream.
Oh, wait.
Huh?
We got to ask him.
I hate Detroit.
Don Shula.
Yes.
I love Detroit.
I know. I'm kidding. That's not me. That's the people on this.
I got a lot of good friends down there. A lot of good friends. Good people.
Last thing, and obviously we lost Don Shula yesterday, and you've been around a long time. You've seen this guy. Doug Peterson threw the touchdown pass for the Miami Dolphins to get him the record back in the day when he was playing for him as his quarterback going in as a backup and got that record, and then obviously went on to set the all-time record moving ahead of Hallis. Your thoughts? I mean, obviously the greatest coach in Miami.
I didn't know that. Hey, you're showing some knowledge there. Well, Doug Peterson threw the touchdown pass that won the game. Which win was it?
That was
they beat the Eagles in '93,
and he was with the Dolphins. And Don Shula put him in because Scott Mitchell got hurt.
Yeah,
and he goes in, and actually Doug even said that next to the Super Bowl, that's probably the second biggest career accomplishment because he knew that was the game that put him over the top.
Over George Hallis?
Yes.
Win number 325, I suppose.
Yes, wow. It was. It was 325. Absolutely great knowledge.
That's a fun fact. Okay, I like that. Thank you for.
You can go with that. Go with that on the.
Use that on the next NFL network
when you see
broadcast.
Colleen Wolfe say, our good friend Tony Bruno was saying on the Sirius XM Channel 211 show that Doug Peterson, and then you'll dazzle her, but you already dazzle her, and she dazzles us, and we're all dazzled.
So how do you know Colleen?
She's a Philly girl. She's another Philly girl.
I know it. She's a rising star. I mean, she is moving up the ladder so fast. She took over Thursday Night Football for Rich Eisen as the host, right?
Well, it's about time they got Rich the hell out of there. He was holding that show back.
Rich has got so much on his plate. It's like, come on, you need to give him a break. But she's done a great job. Those are small shoes to fill. And so she...
Now, we knew her when she was working here at the local Comcast and NBC sports station, and we knew she was going to be a star. And her husband's not that bad either, John Gonzalez. He's a phenomenal guy.
Yeah, they're good people. Yep.
Well, Steve, it's great to talk to you again, my friend. Thank you so much, and hopefully we see you soon.
Thanks for having me on. Be safe, and let's get back at